What's up? I'm Hutch, and you need to better understand pulmonary function tests so that you can better treat your patient with pulmonary diseases, and also pass the NPTE. Pulmonary function tests are performed periodically to diagnose diseases as well as determine their progression. Usually this just involves blowing into a spirogram for 6 seconds and repeating that a few different times. With this simple test, you can determine a bunch of different lung volumes, which can then be compared to normative ranges for their age and gender. Total lung capacity is how much air your lungs can hold after a maximum inhale. This is usually about 5 liters. Vital capacity is usually about 70% of that TLC and is the difference between a maximum inhale and a maximum exhale. So usually about 3 to 4 liters. The amount of air left in your lungs after a maximum exhale is called residual volume. This is usually 25% or about 2 liters. Now this will increase in conditions like COPD, where you have hyperinflation. You're going to have expanded lungs with not as much contractility, and you're going to have a lot of air left over in that residual volume. Functional residual capacity is the amount of air left over after a normal exhale, and this is about 40% of that TLC, or about 1.2 liters. Again, this will increase with things like COPD. Inspiratory capacity is a normal exhale and then a maximum inhale, and this is usually about 60% of that total lung capacity, or about 3 liters. Inspiratory reserve volume is the difference between a maximum and a normal inhale, and this is usually about 50% of the TLC, or about 2.5 liters. Expiratory reserve volume is the difference between a maximum and a normal exhale, and this is usually about 15%, or about 3/4 of a liter. Tidal volume is the normal amount that you breathe during a normal, quiet respiration, and this is about 10% of the TLC, or about half a liter. These are weirdly really important to know for the NPTE. You'll probably see a handful of questions on the actual exam as well as any practice exam that you take, especially with the increase in focus on pulmonary and cardio issues. So if you're going to take the test, I would recommend memorizing these and the percentages of the total lung capacity that they are, because sometimes they want you to know which lung volumes will add up to another lung volume, and it's good to just have that memorized. A few other tests that may be important to know are forced vital capacity, which is measuring a maximum exhale after a maximum inhale. Forced expiratory volume is a measurement taken during the same test. You'll take a measurement of how much air was expired just in that first second. These are really important to know as far as diagnoses go, because if you take the FEV1 over the FVC, this should be about 70 to 80%. However, one of the criteria for diagnosing COPD is that this is lower than that 70 to 80%. The GOLD scale will tell you the severity of obstructive lung disease based on how close this number matches their predicted value. Also in COPD, you'll have that hyperinflation, so a lot of your lung volumes will be increased compared to those normative values. This is different than restrictive lung disease, where all of your values will actually be decreased, with the exception of that FEV1 over FVC. Because both numbers are decreased proportionally, that ratio will actually appear normal in people with restrictive lung diseases. Now it's time for NPT Jeopardy! Pause the video now if you want time to read and think about the question. Otherwise, you've got 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. This is the amount of air in a normal breath during quiet respiration. This is one of the only pulmonary fung test volumes that does not change with COPD and is not affected by that hyperinflation. Hopefully that covers all of our bases. If not, you can always check out the description box below for a link to my notes on Etsy. Otherwise, comment with questions or suggestions for videos I should do in the future. Good luck studying. Go change the world.